This episode brought to you by Nicholson Realty 2.0, the Gas City Performing Arts Center, Chuck Sewer, Drain and Plumbing.
All right, welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Ted. It's time to rock and roll, and we're really going to rock and roll today. We have morning personality Brian Casey from 93.5 Max. How we good today, Brian?
I'm great, man. Horns up,
Look at that.
peace, and all that stuff.
He knows how to do it all.
I think.
Man, this guy's had a 40-year career in radio.
Yeah.
Boy.
1983, man. So longer than that, really.
That's a year after I graduated.
I took a couple-year hiatus. They fired me for... I really can't tell you why on a podcast. I don't know.
We've all been there, done that. So
Yeah. it was no reason. I sounded like an ethnic group. Is why he fired me.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Ah.
And I didn't know what I was doing. I was a kid.
Yeah, you know.
Whatever.
And speaking of, as a kid, you kind of started when you were 12 years old. Tell
Yeah.
that story.
Well, I grew up listening to a station called WNAP, which is going to come back in the story. And I listened to jocks like Adam Smasher, Buster Bodine, Chris Connor, Bruce Munson, who, by the way, I work with now. He works part-time at one of our sister stations. I see him once a week. It's kind of surreal. But anyhow, I used to record those guys on the radio, and then I would record what they said, and I write down what they said, and I'd do a bit just like they did to practice. And I'd record it, listen to it and all that, and all of a sudden I said, I'm going to do my own stuff. So I'd record a song, leave a little space in between, and then I would talk in that little space that I left. And that's probably how I train myself to hit the post when I talk over intros. I hardly ever miss it.
Wow.
Yeah, hardly ever.
Yeah, and that's
And I mean, I just wanted to do it since I was 12 years old. I listened to ERK and a guy named Dave Michaels, who is now Dave Dugan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tell him that all the time. Because I see him all the time. I said, dude, I used to listen to you and you were Dave Michaels when I was a kid. I said, I was a kid. He goes, don't remind me.
So even radio personalities change their names like
Yeah.
artists do.
Right. Yeah.
Or actresses, a lot of
Yeah.
them change their name. That's pretty interesting. But that 93.5 Max, let our listeners know some of the stuff that you do during your show.
Well, I go below the belt a lot. Sometimes I'll drive it over the line into a culvert and overturn it and catch it on fire.
But you know where to stop.
But I know where to stop, usually. Sometimes I go over, but not very often. When I do, they smack me on the nose with a newspaper and say, bad dog. But yeah, I learned how to do that from working with Adam Smasher at WNAP and, of course, Bob and Tom. So, but I worked in a bunch of small market radio stations, including WLBC from 91 to 94.
Okay.
And I got my first radio position at 96.7 WAXT. We had this automated cassette thing, and it would break down sometimes, and I always had a cassette with me. We had these skimmer machines, and one time it broke down, so I had to go live. And Jim Moget, who was the owner of WAXT, needed an afternoon guy, and I approached him and I said, hey, can I talk to you a second? I said, I really want that afternoon gig. I just don't think you're ready, Brian. So I had this pocket t-shirt on, and I pulled out the cassette and handed it to him, and he puts it in and listens to it. He goes, hey, when you want to start? That was my first full-time gig, doing afternoons on 96.7 The Frog.
Wow.
Country. I really didn't like country that well, but it is what it is. I did big band. I've done top 40. I've done about everything.
So that's just
Yeah.
across all genres.
Yeah.
That's impressive too. Now you mentioned WNAP,
Yep.
WFBQ. What can you share about those two places?
Well, first off, I want to tell you a story about how I got a gig at WLBC. I lost my job in Richmond. This is how bad I wanted to stay in radio. It was an equipment failure. It wasn't my fault, but the owner thought it was my fault. So, and the program directors didn't have enough backbone to stand up for me. So I was hired across the street at the time of your life radio station, doing middays on an AM station for part-time. Then I got a job at WLBC AM playing big band music. And my buddy I worked with in Richmond at the rock station I had lost my job at, moved on to Lafayette at Wazy, W-A-Z-Y.
Okay.
And I got the overnight gig there. And these are all part-time gigs.
Okay.
So my day, this is how bad I wanted to stay in radio. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., I would work the Richmond AM station. From 6 to 10 a.m., I would go to Muncie and work WLBC AM. I lived in Richmond, so I go home and sleep for a few hours and eat on the way, and then shower and all that stuff. Then I would leave Muncie at 10 p.m. and be in Lafayette by midnight, and work midnight to 5 a.m. at Wazy. Then I would drive all the way back across the state, and there are sometimes I don't remember. I'd see Methodist Hospital on my left going 70 downtown Indy, and I wouldn't remember how I got there. So I did that. I did that for a few, probably a couple months. Wazy was the first domino to fall. They offered me a position that was way too low in salary. Then I was driving back from Lafayette on I gave them a 2-week notice, and there was a snowstorm. For some reason, 65 was closed or something, so I went 28. I was kind of lucky. I was in a Chevette, and I got blowed off the road in Orestes.
Whoa.
It was about 7 inches of snow. Luckily, my aunt lives in Orestes in my grandma's old house, so I walked a few blocks, about 3 in the morning, to her house, knocked on the door, and I was stuck. I couldn't get to work in Richmond. So the next day I found out that they fired me.
Oh no.
Because I couldn't come to
You didn't
work.
make it.
So that was the second domino that fell. And then about a week later I was working WLBC doing big band music, just working that one job, driving from Richmond to Muncie. It really wasn't worth the money, but Jim Davis, Garfield,
From Fairmount.
calls me up on the request line and goes, "Are you the gentleman that's on the air playing the big band music tonight? You're really doing a good job. I bet you don't know anything about big band music, do you?" I said, "No, but I do research because I want to do a good job." "Well, you do a fantastic job. Tomorrow, I want you on the FM, and I want the guy that's on the FM on the AM. I'll tell Jeff," which was one of the guys that was the program director there. And that's how I got the gig.
Man.
Yeah. And then 1993, 94, I wanted to move to Indy and get in Indy radio. So I put my resume and my air check together, and I had a call in one day from WFMS, WZPL, WZPL, and Oldies 93 WKLR. And the guy that I worked with in Richmond at the rock station, he's not the one that fired me. He left before I did.
Okay.
He worked there, and the guy I worked with in Kokomo at Z93 worked there. So I had two people I knew that worked there, so I chose that. And boy, I was lucky that I did. I worked at Oldies 93 for about 6 weeks, and I had to quit my job at LBC because they wouldn't let me work in Indy and work there too.
Okay.
So I was working at, which is now Navient. It was USA Group back in the day. My brother worked there, and he got me on there. And I was working fill-in and overnights and stuff like that on Oldies 93 weekends. And finally, the guy, the program director, goes, "You can quit your job at the Navient USA Group, and we're going to have you on overnights," because Steve took mornings on IBC. And I went,
Okay.
Great. So I couldn't wait to tell them that I was leaving and working at. Then about 2 weeks after that, they flipped the format to WNAP, the station I grew up listening to.
Right.
And we just played liners and stuff, and I, did some commercials on the air and stuff like that. But a year later, they brought Adam Smasher back,
Okay.
the guy that I idolized and grew up with. And they said, "Hey, Brian, you do such a good job of producing these liner shows, these sweeper shows with our imaging. We want you to be the producer and possibly sidekick to Smash in the morning."
Wow.
And I went, "Oh my, I got goosebumps, man." So I was working with my idol, and I was telling him what to do on the radio. Imagine that.
Yeah.
That I had to be really, really good at cutting and splicing reel-to-reel tape.
Right.
With
Back
the block,
in the day.
Yeah, blocking the razor blade and the tape. And I'd have to do it during a song. And all of a sudden, as soon as I got to be a master of that, the program director comes in with this new machine. You're going to start working on this. It's digital. It's a new thing. So I had to learn that. It was a learning curve. The digital editors back then are not as easy as the digital editors today. Today, they're a piece of cake. Back then, they weren't really that much.
Right.
And so I had to learn that. And one time we took one out portable, and I really messed up and didn't get it recorded, and that would cause me some big trouble. Anyhow, I eventually ended up taking over the morning show when Adam Smasher left. Myself, I was hosting mornings in Indy, and one of my highlights was Grand Funk was in the studio with me. All three original members, Mark, Don, and Mel. I made them late for the nationally syndicated Laughing Hyena show that I eventually started working for. That would be Bob and Tom.
Yeah.
And then I went on and on. I worked about every shift there, overnights, afternoons, middays. So, and I had a great time at WNAP. It was one of the funnest places I ever worked.
Yeah.
And they shut the station down and changed the format, and I worked up in Fort Wayne for about a year and a half at 92.3 The Fort.
Right.
They hired me because I had a really blue tape, if you know what that means.
No,
Blue is
might
like
explain
below
it to
the
us.
belt. Below the belt humor is
Okay.
blue, is what they call blue. And well, the consultant had a differing opinion than the program director. And after about a year and a half, they said bye-bye a week before Christmas.
Oh no.
About 6 months after I received a bonus from taking them from 7th to 2nd place, I had bought a house.
Oh no.
So I was walking out with my box after losing my job, and a salesperson walks in and says, "What's going on?" I said, "They just let me go." I said, "I don't know what to do. I just bought this house on it." She goes, "I just broke up with my boyfriend." So she rented my house for 5 years, and I sold it for what I bought it for.
Oh.
So I got lucky there.
Yep.
In the meantime, when I was working in Fort Wayne, I also got a part-time job working weekends at Q95. So during the week, I would stay in Fort Wayne, and the weekends I go I never gave up my apartment, which I rented a house off my dad in Anderson. And so I had that house, and I had the place that I bought in Fort Wayne. So I'd work 7 days a week. I'd work up in Fort Wayne Monday through Friday, and then I'd come home and work Q95 weekends, Saturday and Sunday.
Wow.
And about a year after I lost my job, Q95 offered me a full-time job doing traffic, and I did traffic and did my own voice track shift on Q95 and X103 and wrote comedy for Bob and Tom. My most famous bit was Effing House Family Restaurant, home of the big effing deal. It's on the Happy Hour CD. And I have credits on it if you want to, check my credentials. I'm Brian. I'm not lying about that. But yeah, I wrote other stuff. I was one of the guys screaming on the Godzilla bits and stuff like that.
Yeah, nice.
So then I would do fill-in mornings on X103 where I had to do traffic on Bob and Tom, X103, and do a morning show. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, I can walk and chew gum at the same time.
Yeah, not many people can do that anymore.
No.
That's pretty impressive. A jack of all trades.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way it is for a lot of radio personalities, isn't it?
Yeah.
Unless you're just big mainstream. But I do want to shout out the Pizza King here in Middletown, because we're sitting in here right now, so that's where some of the background noise is coming from, and you can see people in the video behind us, but hey, they're not causing any ruckus, so we're good.
Mirrors, and more mirrors.
That's
I
right.
forgot this place was a house of mirrors.
But that's so share a little bit about your time at Q95 with some of the people you got to meet there and work with there.
Well, I worked with Jimmy Bad Dog Matus. I was his traffic guy, and I eventually became the traffic director. And and I sometimes would bring Bob and Tom on where I had back time, which is set at 5 different audio sources to one point at 5:59:59. And that was kind of nerve-wracking, because if you messed up, Bob or Tom would give you that look, and ask you going to mess up again today like you did yesterday? So that was kind of nerve-wracking, but I did it. It was all right. And it was a good time working there. I always wanted to work there. I dreamed of working there too, and
Yep.
WNAP. So I fulfilled two of my radio dreams working at those two great call letters.
Right.
So I worked there for 11 years.
Okay.
And budget cut.
Yep.
Then I got to work at WIBC for a couple of years, producing. You know, I was the first producer for Chicks on the Right, and I used to produce Garrison, and sometimes I'd fill in on traffic. And one time we were a radio news partner, or RTV6, and I did a week on TV doing traffic.
Wow.
That was crazy.
Oh boy.
I'd never done it, no training. They trained me how to run the computer and the map for about a week, and that was it.
Wow. So you've been on TV, you did voiceovers,
Yeah.
voice actor, not just radio, but so the meteorologists at those TV stations,
Yeah.
they're looking off to the side, correct?
Yes.
They're not, yeah,
They have a green screen right in front of me,
right?
and then they'll throw it to me, and the camera will just turn around, and they're from me to you.
Really?
Yeah, that close.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's, I'd always heard that, but
You want to hear a real white knuckle story about RTV6?
well, sure.
First day, it was Monday of that week. There was a shooting in downtown Pendleton where it was a domestic thing, and this plumber comes up and tries to, save the woman from her husband. Well, he ends up getting shot, and then the police officer that arrived on the scene got shot,
Oh no.
and he was bleeding out, and they couldn't get to him because the police dog was there, and they had to tase the police dog, and they had to get to get to the guy.
Okay.
And I was set up, and I didn't know what I was doing yet. I was set up to do 30 seconds worth of traffic, and they have this little speaker in your ear in the newsroom. Stretch it out, baby, stretch it out. I went all the way around 465, up and down 65, east and west 70, 69, 40, whatever I could think of. 'Cause I did traffic for 11 years, so I just basically made stuff up.
Okay.
And finally, they go, okay. I said, now with more on the Pendleton shooting, here's Chris Prophet. And
There you go.
they just cheered in the newsroom that I pulled that off.
Wow.
My shirt was soaking wet.
Little sweat from the stress.
Jump in the deep end and swim or drown, either or.
That'd be kind of like
Yeah.
David Lee Roth or somebody after a 2-hour concert.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they get to change clothes between sets, don't they?
Yeah.
If they want. That's impressive. That's a good job. I mean, that's
Yeah.
so. You talked about budget cuts at radio stations before, but now you look at television news. Boy,
Yeah.
the way they're just throwing people out left
Well, the
and
guy
right.
that was throwing me traffic from the weather, Todd Clausen, he's the one that lost one of the guys that lost his job.
Man, that's crazy. It's, society these days is just, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's benefits to it, but there's also downfalls to it.
And another part of my job is I bring bands on stage, and I do that a lot at the Paramount Theater or wherever they play at. I brought Dennis DeYoung up on stage, and Ace Frehley, and Gene Simmons, and Bachman Turner Overdrive, and
Now, I believe in a previous conversation you said you did that at the Gas City concerts.
I
at the
did
park
that too.
Correct?
Al Stewart and Gary Wright and 38 Special, and a lot of bands like that I brought up on stage.
So he knows some folks down in our area.
Yeah.
To all of our listeners, and so share a couple stories about some of the musicians or singers, artists you've met, and had personal dealings with.
Dennis DeYoung, no matter what Tommy Shaw says about him or JY, is one of the nicest guys ever. I interviewed him the day that Eddie Money passed away. He didn't say anything until after our conversation was over, and I said, that really hit me hard. I love Eddie Money. I met Eddie Money 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
But Dennis DeYoung invited me backstage before the show. Just tell his manager, ask where his manager, he'll know about it. And I was coming down the stairs and he was singing "To Carry On" as high as I'm like, wow, man, free concert right here.
Yeah.
And he was just warming his voice up, and he pulls me to the side into a room, and I'm thinking, what's going on here, you know? And he had this little laptop, and he started playing me some music. He goes, "What's that sound like, Brian?" I said, "It sounds like Styx to me. That's my new album. You're the only person that's heard that besides the band and the engineers and the producer.
Wow.
It's going to be out next year sometime." So, and it sounded really good. And after the show, or during the show, we had a conversation about my Casey's, you call it, which Sweet Madam Blue beat Soundgarden, Black Hole Sun, in the contest that day. And I told him about it, and he mentioned a couple things on stage, wanted to know if I was there or not. He didn't see me. And then after the show, he wanted me to come back again, and I sat there and talked to his band members for half hour or so. Then all of a sudden, Dennis finished up his responsibilities, like talking to the crowd. They probably paid for a meet and greet or whatever.
Right.
And Susie, his wife, the guy he wrote Babe and Lady for,
Okay.
was sitting there on the couch with Dennis, and just me and my girlfriend. We talked to him for half hour, 45 minutes, and walked out of the venue with just the band members and a few security personnel that were left from Emmons. That was very cool.
That'd have to be. You spoken with Alice Cooper.
Yeah, I did. And
He's not as crazy as he looks, right?
He's mild, meek, and soft-spoken in person. Unless you ask him about his hot guitar player, Nita Strauss, and then he gets that crazy look in his eyes and he puts his hands around my throat. I could be making that story up. But that was the Alice, and the other guy I met was the meek Vincent Furnier.
Okay.
Now, Eddie Money, I have a couple stories. I met him like 3 or 4 times. Mm-hmm. One time they had me go pick him up from the International Airport in Indianapolis when I worked at WNAP, and there was a car coming the wrong way on one of those north-south roads. We were going to Monument Circle. That's where the station was.
Okay.
And I saw that car out of the corner of my eye, and I slammed on the brakes, and he missed the front bumper of the Ford Explorer by inches. If I would have kept going, it would have hit Eddie Money in the passenger side. He probably would not have survived the accident. The guy was going probably about 70, 80 miles an hour. Then 6 months later, because WNAP went out, that was right before we went out, I was up in Fort Wayne working, and I go to work, and I go to the kitchen, and lo and behold, there's Eddie Money smoking a cigarette, reading a newspaper, and drinking coffee in the kitchen. He was up for Three Rivers Fest. He was performing there. And he goes, "Is that you, Brian?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "What are you doing up here?" I go, "Well, the station went down." "Man, it was a good station." He goes, I'm up. "Well, you're in a good place, man. Fort's a good place, man. Fort Wayne loves Eddie Money, and Eddie Money loves Fort Wayne," is what he said. And I said, "Carry on, man. Nice seeing you again." "Well, nice seeing you too. Maybe I'll see you before the show or something again." I just left him alone because I had to go on the air.
Right.
By the time I left, he was already gone.
But he remembered you.
Oh yeah, he remembered me. Sure.
And that's amazing, because with all the people they run across, come in contact with daily, nightly, weekly.
Yeah.
Wow,
he remembered because I saved his life.
Yeah.
That's why he remembered me.
You saved his life, because it could have been worse, and you would have been on the wrong side of the news that time.
That's true.
That's so that's
just
pretty
interesting.
Pretty crazy.
And then I got to tell you the Alvin Parsons story.
Yep.
The guy that was the studio engineer for the Beatles' Abbey Road. He was on the rooftop when the Beatles did that fancy schmancy last concert on top of a Savile Road, whatever it's called. And he also was a producer for Dark Side of the Moon, as well as his own Alan Parsons project. Well, he was in the studio with WNAP and Smash and I, and he hung out with us for half hour, 45 minutes after the show, and Smash goes, "Alan, you want us to call the limo?" He goes, "Nah, one of you gents can take me back." He goes, "B, you want to take Alan back?" He gets in my 84 Cougar, ripped seat, had rust all over it. So I take him back north across 465. We were like just south of 465 on 96th Street.
Right.
He goes, "Brian, can you stop in here? I need to get a black coffee." So we stopped at the McDonald's there, and he ordered an English McMuffin, 2 egg McMuffin, whatever, and a black coffee. And the dude that was working the drive-thru had long hair. Guarantee you, he was a Pink Floyd fan. He looked like one of the Pink Floyd fans, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
The red bloodshot eyes and stuff like that. And had no idea he was serving the guy that produced Dark Side of the Moon.
Oh my goodness.
And then we parked. I took him up to the entrance of the hotel. He goes, "I'll just pull on over here." And he sat there and talked to me for another half hour.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
and that's what, the general public, they don't perceive that these guys, they're normal people.
Yeah, well, unless you're David Lee Roth or Axl Rose.
Well, yeah.
I have a couple stories about them, but I don't know.
Yeah, you've got some stories about the Indiana Rockers.
Yeah, and Mellencamp too.
Yeah,
We'll just leave those alone.
We'll leave all that out. But yeah, this is so interesting. I mean, to live that kind of life and the people you get to see and interact with, you meet. Now going back to 935 Max. For people that maybe haven't checked you out in the mornings, what could they look forward to?
Casey's Classics airs every morning at 6:50. Now, if you get me a story, send me an email, brian.thati@maxrocks.net. That's the best way to do it, or you can call me, maxrocks.net, and get all that information. You could get $100 to spend at Benson Motorcycles. They're the current sponsor. Okay?
There you go, Harley Riders.
Yes. So whether you met the artist or not, I really don't care. You have a concert experience and somebody fall, and somebody rip their pants on stage, and somebody throw up on your girlfriend's jacket or you, or you get in a fight, or somebody got in a fight, or you saw some nudity or something naughty going on the lawn, whatever. I want to know about it.
There you go.
And I do a story every morning, and I'll usually play a deep cut from that artist. Very, very cool stuff. Like, I can't remember what I did today. What did I do today? I can't remember. You don't get enough sleep, you don't remember things.
That's true.
Then following that, I do a thing called Casey's You Call It, where every day is a certain day. I just go to that checkyday.com and find out what day it is, and I'll do a little matchup between two artists. It is a Donate Your Money Day tomorrow. So I have a couple songs with charity in the lyrics.
Yeah.
So
okay.
you vote for those, and they're well-known songs too. I can't remember what I did though.
Well, that's good.
That's all right.
People just have to start listening.
Yeah, you just have to go to maxrocks.net and check it out in 93.5. And you can also go to maxrocks.net and download. You can just listen live on that on maxrocks.net, or download the app on your store, 93-5 Max, and you can check me out. And we're giving away Indy 500 tickets and stuff like that. We always give away concert tickets, and it's a lot of fun, man. And phone interaction. I talk to a lot of people live on the air, and it's old school radio. I still do old school radio, and that's the best kind.
Oh, I agree. That's me, because I'm old school.
Yeah.
My co-host Conrad, he's more tech savvy.
He is, yeah.
So I'll be the old guy, and he can be the young guy, which he is probably young enough to be my son. But
that's all right. They know more about it than we do.
Good guy. I'm gonna throw a couple bands out at you.
Okay.
You give me their favorite song.
Yeah.
From this group. Of course, we spoke about it before. Electric Light Orchestra.
Ooh, probably Do You.
And that's mine too. From them.
Yeah.
That's
that just rocks.
On our drive over here, we heard some Cheap Trick. What you got there?
I like Ain't That a Shame. Mm-hmm. That's a great live song. Dream Police is up there.
I always like Dream Police.
Gonna Raise Hell.
Yep, it's because I actually saw them a couple times at the Paramount Theater in Anderson.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Sure.
And let's go a little bit further. Let's go Grateful Dead.
Probably Sugar Magnolia.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I like a few of their songs. Not a big fan, but I like a few of their songs.
And actually there's a tribute band coming to Gas City for long.
Right.
Grateful Dead tribute band. Let's do another classic. The Who.
Oh, it's got to be Baba O'Reilly.
Same thing here.
or because I love that violin solo
Yes.
at the end.
Yes.
I also like 515 with the horns.
Mm-hmm.
Killer. It really, I like the Kenny Jones stuff too.
Really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
better, you bet.
Yep.
all
that's,
that.
That's good. That's good.
I like Athena a lot.
Yep.
So
You mentioned horns, and if I think horns in a band, immediately I'm going to Chicago.
I met him.
There you go. Tell us that.
So I interviewed Lee Loughnane, the original trumpet player,
Uh-huh.
and I got some little digs in. I said, "Man, what happened to you guys in the '80s, man? You were so good in the '70s, and the '80s you kind of wimped out a little bit." Well, we recorded songs, but they didn't play them on the radio. And I said, "Well," I said, "but in concert they play a lot of the '70s stuff."
Right. Yep.
And I said, "There's this one song that I like that you guys just play the end of it because it's the fast part, and I want to hear the whole song." "Well, it kind of ruins the momentum." I said, "Like, Hard to Say I'm Sorry doesn't ruin the momentum."
Yeah.
And I can't. What's it? I know, believe in you, and I know you believe in me. Oh yeah, that song.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd have to keep
yeah,
going. We
yeah.
have this.
So that's the song that they don't play. They just play the end of it where it's fast.
Right. Yeah. Like a lot of these groups, they just combine a bunch together and just go
So
with it.
he asked me if I had tickets, and I go no. He goes, "Well, give me your all your info," and I gave him my info on the phone after the interview, and he got me front row center, about 5 rows back, and all access backstage, and meet and greet afterwards. A picture with the entire Chicago band.
Wow.
And Lee Loughnane, I was standing there with him and James Pankow and Robert Lamb.
Okay.
I was standing between all 3 original members.
Wow.
It was cool
That
because I love old Chicago, one of my favorite bands.
Yep, they are. They're good. People,
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how many
Yeah.
hits they actually had. I
Yeah.
mean, it's, you're not necessarily number one, but you're
Yeah.
in the Billboard Top 40, and that's pretty amazing. It's I mean,
70s Chicago, killer. 80s Chicago, not so much.
yeah.
I mean, it's okay. But,
kind of more love songs, I think.
Yeah.
Is how I would look at it.
yeah, they became Peter Cetera's backing band.
Yeah, and that's a female artist.
Probably Ann Wilson.
You got Ann Wilson.
I like Pat Benatar. I like Stevie Nicks. I like Joan Jett. Lita Ford, one of my favorite interviews of all time. We flirted with each other. That was cool.
Yeah, I'd probably flirt with her too. She
Yeah.
was, she was something. How about Patti Smythe and Scandal?
Well, Eddie Van Halen's favorite singer. He wanted to join Scandal,
Did he really?
and he was Patti Smythe was his first choice to replace David Lee Roth, and she said no.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
He was
That's
infatuated with her, I think.
interesting. That's,
Yeah.
that's very interesting. Let's do some rating systems real quick.
Okay.
Between 1 and 5. 5 being the highest. Yacht Rock.
4, 3 or 4.
Okay.
I love Pablo Cruz, and I love Jay Ferguson, and Toto, and Steely Dan, and
That's
all that
good
stuff.
songs there. Very
I
good.
really am not a really big fan of Michael McDonald. I think he ruined the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
I liked them before he joined.
Yep. How about pop rock?
If it's 70s pop rock, maybe a little bit of 80s pop rock, but
You're going 4?
this stuff now, huh?
You gonna rate it a 4 or 5?
70s pop rock, a 4, 80s, a 3, 90s and
Wow.
beyond, a 1 or a 2.
Now a 0. Hard rock.
Oh yeah, depending on what era. 70s hard rock, 80s hard rock, the 90s grunge, 70s and 80s a 5, the grunge maybe a 3,
Yeah, that's kind of the way I was.
the thrash metal a 2. I don't like that too
Yeah,
much.
that was, for that, it was more late 70s, early 80s for me. And then it kind of went downhill. Then, of course, classic rock, that's probably got to be a 5+, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like Alice in Chains, Stone Temple
Yeah,
Pilots, a
that's
few
a-
bands.
Yep. That's, I don't know, and really, I mean, in today's music,
Yeah.
there's no really new bands that are making a name for themselves. That
There's no longevity either.
it's just I
They'll
don't
have
get
they'll
it.
have one album and the record company will get behind them, and then you're yesterday's news. Bye bye.
Yeah,
They'll wad you up and throw you into file 13.
they don't have to prove anything else, do they?
No.
So, favorite decade of rock and roll?
80s,
Okay.
because that's when I was graduated from high school
Yep.
and all that. I had my cruising around in my 67 Nova and my
Yep.
69 Torino Cobra and my 77 Bandit Trans Am and my 87 GTA.
Oh, yeah.
I had some good cars, man. I wish I still had them. I'd be a millionaire, wouldn't I?
You never let Sally Field ride in that Bandit, did you?
Yeah, I did. I wanted maybe a lookalike. Not her.
Dream interview. If you could interview anybody, who
Paul
would it be?
McCartney.
Paul McCartney. And that's, I've heard a lot of people say that when they're asked that question.
Yeah.
And I've also heard people say, Elton John.
Yeah.
Which I believe Elton John's more open to interviews than Paul McCartney is.
Yeah.
I think he's probably given a lot more in his time. But
Bob interviewed him, may he rest in peace, 3
Yep.
times. 3 times. It's like, man.
yeah, see, and that's
So-
yeah. That's like I say. You work with Bob and Tom. And there's something else you do. I mean, that maybe people don't know, but if somebody needs like what would you call yourself? Not an opening act, but like if somebody's got something going on,
Like live action
yeah,
broadcast at a business.
you would come out and,
Yeah.
for a fee, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. I have
that's-
3 of them this weekend starting Friday and 2 on Saturday.
wow, and
So I'll be busy next weekend.
that's a couple hours of sleep night before maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you mentioned before, you're still working when you get home from the radio station.
Oh, yeah. I do the Casey's, you call it, and the Casey's Classics that night. I search all that up, and it takes a long time to go through all the rock birthdays to find out who I want to feature. But that's how
Sure.
I usually do it. If there's no birthdays, then I'll just pick one randomly.
Right.
And then what day I want to do. There's like 12 days every night for the next day, and I got to pick the certain one.
Yep.
And then pick a song that correlates to that. 2 songs.
Okay.
And I go through a long list, man.
Yep.
I have a couple websites I go to where a certain word is in the lyrics, and you can segue it down or
Okay.
sequence it down to like rock, pop, jazz, whatever.
Okay.
And I just
Yep.
do of course, I do the rock. So to go from 1,000 titles to 300 or 200 or 100 or
Yeah, I got to start using that.
yeah.
That's in a previous conversation, you've also told me that it doesn't matter what day it is, what the date is. There's a holiday somewhere.
There is
Some
Yeah.
kind of holiday.
Yeah, every day.
365.
Yeah.
There's something somewhere that,
Yeah.
that is a holiday.
Too bad we can't take every day off. We're gonna have to work it all, man.
Yeah,
Every holiday.
That'd be nice, wouldn't
be
it?
a holiday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and have a floating holiday and add to the ones we already have. So, if you were starting a band, say you're just a musician,
Yeah.
and you need a lead singer, who would you want to be your lead singer?
Wow. Probably Geddy Lee.
Okay.
Love Rush.
Yep, so do I. So does Kelly, who runs the Performing
Yeah.
Arts Center.
Yeah.
She's big. She's even got a tattoo, a Rush tattoo.
Does
so
it?
yeah, she does. She's into
right.
it. But so let's go drummer.
Well, he's no longer with us, but Neil from Rush.
Yep. He's
You know who's really good? Mike Portney
and who's
from
he?
Dream Theater.
Okay. See, and that's
He can play any. He studied Neil. He
really
can play all of it. I'm surprised Rush didn't pick him.
that's while we're on it, let's go bass player.
Bass player. Well, probably Paul McCartney.
Okay.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody's favorite
Lead guitarist.
lead guitarist,
My all-time favorite lead guitarist is Randy Rhoads
Randy Rhoads
from Ozzy.
from Ozzy.
Blizzard of Oz, Diary of a Madman, and then the plane crash. And no more Randy. Yep.
Speaking of plane crash, Leonard Skinner.
Yeah.
They've got so many hits as well.
Yeah.
That's How about the song Brickyard Road?
Yeah, it's a great song.
Is that kind of not a tearjerker?
Yeah,
If
it
you
is.
really know the story behind
it.
it.
Oh yeah, it is.
A lot of people don't know the story behind
Right,
that.
right.
But yeah, it is a great song. But then, every time I play that song, the next song people want me to play is Copperhead Road.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you go from Brickyard Road.
It's the intersection of
Copperhead
Brickyard
Road.
and Copperhead.
Yeah, that's all right, Brian. We appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, man.
Anybody or anything you'd like to shout out before we get off of here?
No, I'm good. Just listen to Max, man.
Max, and if they need somebody to come be a personality at a pop up or something,
Yeah.
or
Sure. You want me to bring a
grand opening, a
band?
special sale,
You want me to bring a band on stage or anything like that, man?
they just
I'll go to your business, man.
remind them again how
We
to get a
need-
hold of you.
MaxRocks.net. Brian at MaxRocks.net.
There you go.
And we need to get up to Gas City and the Marion area more.
There we go. Yep.
So businesses, we want to come up there. It's up to you.
That's right. All right. We want to thank all of our sponsors. Thank Brian once again for jumping on and joining us. And we will talk to you next time. Thanks.
See ya.